we'll do ONDS here. Apparently, there's some news about an offering, so let's take a look here. And I also want to address WorkLife's comment here about ONDS just doing a share offering and the price hasn't dropped. Well, they are down 2.5%. Now, I guess you could make the argument that they're down with the broader market. This is what the intraday chart looks like. I'm sorry about the shading. That's not populating here. Okay. ONDS files a secondary offering of 1.926 million common shares. So the question here is, what is the criteria of offerings that cause a stock to drop versus not drop?
Oh, the short answer is it depends.
The short answer is it depends, but let me give you a little bit more here. And this absolutely applies to ONDS.
Yeah.
Why are you doing the offering? Did your stock go up by 600% and you're just trying to take advantage by selling into that? What are those funds going to do? In the case of ONDS, we know why they're raising money. We heard from the CEO. He told us directly that what one of his main goals is not just to produce these little drones that fly around, but actually to build a technology company or have a technology stack within the company that allows it to do many different things. You're going to need money to fund that. On top of him telling us that, we actually saw that in practice. We saw ONDS go out and add companies to its portfolio to help its drone and counter drone and UAS drone production. So he told us this is why we're doing this. Then we actually saw that happen in the market. So I suspect then, and especially because we have this gigantic drone theme going on right now, we've got a conflict in Ukraine where drones are being used. We have a conflict in the Middle East where drones are being used. And it's very, very clear that this is becoming like a new age of warfare. On top of that, we have government officials saying drone production is going to increase. This is the new wave, this, that, and the other thing. So there's a backdrop here. And in this case, these offerings, they make sense, right? They need more money to expand how many drones they're producing. That's ultimately going to help them bleed money down to the bottom line. That's going to help earnings. And also they're acquiring companies. So my suspicion here, and this is just my gut feeling to answer your question, my suspicion here is that the market looks at this and they say, okay, they're doing an offering, but we kind of know where these funds are going. And as long as that continues, it should actually be good for the company long term. The market is going to be more willing to look through that offering. If it's a stock, and I'm just making something up, I am not referencing or slandering anybody. If there's a company that used to do Bitcoin mining that all of a sudden changes to AI inference and power generation or something just to kind of keep with the trend, and the stock pops on some flaky headline and then they do an offering into this, do you really know what they're doing with those funds? Maybe that's just kind of an off-ramp for people at the company. It seems like if the story is feasible, the market is going to be willing to look through some of these things. And I think that's the case with ONDS. Zach here saying all the ONDS offerings have been gulped up, at least up to now. Zach, we can't predict the future. I asked my 8-ball to do it. It gets it wrong sometimes. It's just how it goes. But you're absolutely right here. The funds are clearly being used for growing the company, and the market likes that. So the short answer, as 13 said, it depends. But in this case, I think there's something very specific that we can point at. It might not be easy to figure out if it's legitimate or not. Like the company might say, well, we're going to do this, that, and the other thing, and then never do it. In the case of this particular stock, we've actually seen some of that. Anything that you want to add to that, 13?
Lots. So basically,
let's go. I love it.
Basically, we cover a lot of these names every day about, and they typically are names that are in biotechs, or they're these, sometimes they're foreign companies, or they're companies that are just not operating very well, and they need more capital. And when you see the way that these companies are working and they're doing business, you already have a sense of where that money's going. In the sense of a company that's needing to regain NASDAQ compliance by doing an offering, that's just not something you want to be in, because the company's already in trouble, and they're basically taking people's money so that they can spend it on themselves and whatever it is they're doing that's their money losing business. you get a sense of where that capital's headed. It's essentially headed down the toilet. And when it comes to, I mean, that's more or less
No,
how
you're not
how it
wrong.
happens.
You're not wrong at all.
When it comes to biotech, you know exactly where that money's going. It's going right to research. And biotechs typically, in a lot of cases, they do not have revenue. So when you see a zero revenue company that's raising capital, you kind of get a sense of where that money's going. It's going right, I don't want to say down the toilet, it's going into research, but that research is being done in the form of like clinical trials and drug development. It's a pricey endeavor with no return. And the only return that you typically get is data. And if that data is not good, then all that money that you spent is now down the toilet. In the case of ONDS, where they're not, needing to regain NASDAQ compliance, they are doing research, but they also have revenue, and they are also, trying to expand, as Ryan was touching on. That's a business that is trying to grow, and they cannot rely upon traditional banking and lending to fuel that rapid expansion, because it takes too long. So the quickest and easiest way to do it is to raise capital by the issuance of more shares. So it's also a very, very quick way to access capital. And that's what you're seeing here with Ondas compared to some of the other names that we were looking at, where they're just trying to raise capital to keep their research going or to stay in business.
Yeah, it's spot on, 13. Really great addition there.